Said evening, Craig. With Frimpong and possibly Kirkes would be a great start to summer signings. Yeah, it would. And look, it does look like, Will, that Frimpong deal is moving along quickly. Now, I get annoyed when I see Liverpool accounts undermining our own club in the media. So the stories, let's say, posted today, loads of positive stuff about Frimpong to Liverpool from far and wide, from Germany, from the UK, from other parts of Europe. And then I see a Liverpool fan account saying Liverpool would want to move quickly or Barcelona might march in. And I'm just thinking, why don't our journalists actually do what Madrid and other clubs do and big up us in the fucking media and say, well, they'd be wasting their time. Frimpong's fully on board with coming to Liverpool. We need to take a leaf out of their book, because no matter what we think, the transfer world at times is a battle for hearts and minds, and it's a battle for clubs seizing the initiative in PR with regards to a player that they're going after. And if you don't learn the lessons from the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona who do it, you're just going to keep being the victim of it. So I really wish we'd stop undermining ourselves in the media. Said, hi Craig, I'll be happy with Frimpong if we also get a defensive right back. Frimpong's season heat map is identical to Salah's. He does not defend deep, and we do not play a 3-4-3. We have a Reed type if Connor gets injured or to come on in the last 20 minutes. So I've explained why I think Frimpong could be exciting and give us various options. He could cover Salah for the AFCON even, if we need to. He can cover Conor Bradley. He can play in advanced positions. And it took me a while, Soren, to kind of be won around by the idea of Frimpong. Now that I am on board, I can't not see it now. I want him. I want him at the club. I did realise, by the way, that he spent so long at Man City. He is homegrown 100%. So that's going to help us with the homegrown quota, as we've spoken about many times. And yet, your heat map I've seen, and he certainly does play more advanced. But then again, Leverkusen did play with a different system to Arne. And I just wonder, are we looking to, again, maybe just bring in variations in case Arne Slot wants to play in different ways? The way I try to think about it is, under Jurgen Klopp, I remember many games where we started out with Andy Robertson, and let's say that game was level or we needed to get something from it. I remember many times where Kloppo would take off Robbo and bring on Costas, and I used to sit there and think, why is he doing that? And then you would see Costas be 15-20 yards further up the pitch and basically just being an attacker. And I can see a similar situation on the right-hand side with Frimpong. It's not done and dusted 100% yet, but it's certainly on the way. Liverpool in advanced talks to sign Jeremie Frimpong after contact reported last week, said Fabrizio Romano. Understand Liverpool approached Bayer Leverkusen to discuss the €35 million release clause structure. Talks underway. Now remember yesterday we mentioned Frimpong's agent posting to say we work in and around Manchester. Well, it looked like he could have been on his way for a chat with Liverpool. Florian Plettenberg, Sky Germany, said, understand Liverpool are seriously pursuing Frimpong. Advanced talks have already taken place. Following detailed analysis and due to his availability, he's currently one of the top options for LFC to potentially replace Trent. Then we move on to Kicker, another German publication, that said Liverpool are close to signing Dutch international Jeremie Frimpong from Leverkusen. Talks are at a very advanced stage. Only minor details remain. Club are ready to trigger the release clause. A 5-year deal until 2023 is on the table. And then we'll go through another report from Bild that said Frimpong is set to join Liverpool. They'll activate his release clause and he'll sign a contract till 2030. Then we have Fabrizio Romano on TikTok saying negotiations are underway between Liverpool and Leverkusen. They're discussing the payment terms and the structure of the €35 million release clause. Liverpool are in very advanced talks with Frimpong on a 5-year contract. And then we go to Lewis Steele, who said, it is understood that Leverkusen were first made aware of Liverpool's interest in Frimpong back in December 2024, and that has accelerated in the last 6 weeks since Trent Alexander-Arnold told Arne Slot in March of his intention to leave. Frimpong is very keen on the move. I could take you through probably another 4 or 5. Here's another one from Romano. Conversations advancing between Liverpool and Frimpong. He's absolutely pushing for the move. He wants to wear the red shirt next season. Deal absolutely on, in all caps. Now, you know me. I love a bit of shithousery and I love to have a bit of fun. So there's been only one real journalist, let's call him unnamed journalist for funsies, who has poo-pooed this and said, I trust my source on this, and my source says that Liverpool aren't going to sign Frimpong. Let's wait and see what happens, shall we? Because it's a big, bold claim to make in the face of so much optimism from many, many other journalists. So let's wait and see quite who's right on this one. But don't worry, I'll inform the local constabulary just in case they need to do the rounds or make a call or anything like that, because I know how touchy some of these guys are. Florian Plettenberg said Frimpong wants to leave Leverkusen. He's informed the club. It just keeps going on and on and on. Another report said Frimpong talks have gone well and are about to be successfully concluded. Fees around 40 million euro. So it looks like, barring most journalists on the planet being wrong, Frimpong is about to sign for Liverpool. So that, I think we can say, is close. Roosbet said Frimpong will be an excellent signing. I wouldn't trust Bradley staying fit for 40 plus games per season. But even if he was, nobody can play that many games really in a season, or at least 2 games a week at the level and the energy levels that these guys put in. It's maybe a bit different to a Virgil van Dijk or an Alisson Becker, let's say. Probably don't cover a similar amount of ground that a fullback would. But I would imagine Arne Slot would have a little smile on his face, having Conor Bradley and Jeremie Frimpong as 2 options on the right-hand side. Certainly brings a smile to this Liverpool fan's face. But, do you know what? I feel like a bit of a mug as well, because I don't like to rewrite history and I don't ever not put my hands up. I remember talking about Frimpong 2 months ago and saying to everybody, I don't think there's any chance of this, lads. I just don't see how it fits in. I don't see how it works. And maybe part of me was still in denial about the whole Trent situation, but here I am now and he's close to coming in and I'm starting to feel a lot more excited about it. And starting to see maybe how he can be utilised a little bit better than I previously thought of. When do you think the earliest Frimpong's transfer can be completed? I mean, it can be signed at any point, but it can't be registered until the 1st of June. And I'm also intrigued to see how Liverpool approach this mini little early window. Will they look at it as a way to maybe start to move players out first and, you know, see if they can bring in some money before the window opens for its longest time from the 16th onwards? Or do they try to get a signing or 2 over the line? Everybody can only complete 2 signings between June 1st and 10th maximum. And then after that, of course, you can do what you like. But between 1st and 10th, only allowed bring in 2. And then from the 16th through to the end of the window, you can do whatever business you like. And Nathan said, I feel that both Kirkes and Frimpong are done deals. Look, I would be at this point more surprised if they didn't happen yet. I think that's the fairest I can say on it. Yeah, I'm really confident on both of those 2, the same as everybody else. But I can't reiterate this enough. I still don't think Arne Slot trusts Jarell Quansah. And like I said months ago, I think in an ideal world for Slot, Quansah gets sold. And if you disagree with me on that, no problem. But let's think back over the season. First game of the season, he was starting. He was going to be the guy alongside alongside Virgil at Ipswich. And he was pulled off at half-time for losing his battles. And we never really seen him given a run after that. He had little appearances here or there, a little bit at right back, a little bit at centre back. And particularly towards the end of the season, certainly looked more confident than he was. But I don't think Arne Slot would turn down an offer of 40 odd million if it came in. I think in an ideal scenario, my guess is Edwards is not too fussed whether Canade stays or goes, because I think Edwards feels like he can replace him. So I don't think that's going to stress him out too much, and I think we will see a definitive quick decision on that one, but hopefully it's an extension. And if Ibu does stays, then I'm probably at 95% then that I expect Quansah to go. And as I mentioned, David Ornstein on Back Pages last night on Sky said that he expects him to be sold. And as I mentioned at the start, I did rewind it back to make sure I heard it right, but he did say expect him to be sold.